Okay, so this is your corrections video for the radicals test. If you want to earn half points back, make sure you write out the question, show the work, and if necessary, give me a short written explanation if there's a problem that doesn't have much work that shows why you understand it. Here's number one. The way I did this one, I just wanted to get the radical alone. So I subtracted 7, then divided by 2 to get the radical alone. And then I squared both sides to turn this into a regular 3x and this into a 36, then divided by 3, and I got x equals 12. You can plug it back in. It definitely works. By the way, if I go too fast in this video at any point, feel free to pause, rewind, watch again. Solve this equation. It is x equals 1. This is the work over here that leads to it. First, I get the x added on both sides to move it to the right. Then I square both sides. That means squaring this binomial, which is a FOIL thing. So it comes out like this, x squared plus 2x plus 1. I subtract x from both sides, subtract 3 from both sides, factor, and then I look at my two possible solutions and I plug them back in to make sure they actually work. The x equals negative 2 does not actually work when you plug it in. So it's the x equals 1 that they're really looking for. And that'll happen sometimes when you square both sides, that you'll get an extraneous solution. So watch out for that and plug your stuff back in. Number 3, a simplified form of the following expression. This is 3 square roots of 2 plus 4 square roots of 2. That's 7 square roots of 2. Minus the square root of 2 takes you back to 6 square roots of 2. It's just combining like terms. Of course, you could also put it in the calculator and see which answer choice it matched up to. Number 4, not an equivalent form. So taking something to the 1/2 power is the same as taking its square root. So I'm fine with A. In fact, I'm okay with C because they just took the square root of 4 on the top and the square root of 3 on the bottom. And I'm fine with D because you can write it as a separate radical over top and bottom as long as you got both of them there. B I don't like because it's inconsistent. They took the square root on one of them but not the other. It's not the way you're supposed to do it. Number 5. You'll see on this one, I multiplied the outside and got the 6x to the 3rd y. Then I multiplied the inside and got the 8x to the 4th y. Then I just looked for things that could get pulled out, because obviously the stuff under these radicals is less, so something got pulled out. Broke an 8 down into a 4 and a 2, took the square root of 4, made it a 2 on the outside. That 2 eventually multiplied times the 6 and made it 12. Also pulled out this x to the 4th as an x squared on the outside, which later combined with the x cubed to make an x to the 5th. So D is your right answer, and here's your work. Remember, pause this thing and write all this work out, and watch it again if it didn't make sense going fast. Number 6, cube root of 2 all raised up to the 2nd power. Remember, it's like base to the exponent over radical index. So what I'm saying is this 2 is the base, so put it here, and then raise it up to the 2 is an exponent over 3, which is that radical base. So 2 to the 2/3, A is the right choice. 7. Which one's equivalent to this? Just turn each one into a fractional exponent. You'll get x to the 3/6 times y to the 4/6, and then simplify them. Number 8. If you want to subtract these two things, they need to be like terms. So you need to simplify them until they are. 45 is like 9 times 5, and we know the square root of 9, it's 3. 20 is like 4 times 5, and we know the square root of 4, it's 2. So you pull those out, and now all of a sudden you got 3 of something minus 2 of that same thing. That gives you 1 of that thing, 1 square root of 5xy. Question number 9. Square root of 45 ab squared divided by 9b to the 6c squared. So I put it as a fraction like this over top of itself, so it's easier to see what's going on. 45 divided by 9 does make a 5, all under a radical. A on the top stays there. B squared over b to the 6th makes b to the 4th on the bottom. C squared stays on the bottom because it's the only place there are any c's. And then you simplify the bottom. The square root of b to the 4th is b squared. The square root of c squared is c. So there you go. D is the answer. Number 10. So, cube root of 128. I want to break that into a 64 and a 2. So you get 4 cubed roots of 2, being like the cube root of 128. You can verify that on the calculator if you need to. You could also type this whole thing in the calculator, really, if you wanted, and find a match. X to the 6th in a cube root is like x to the 6 divided by 3 is 2. Okay, so x squared. Notice I made this 8 into a 6 and a 2 because I wanted multiples of 3. And then y to the 6, that is a multiple of 3, so it pulls out as a y squared also. This is your final answer. Number 11, I'm not sure anybody missed this one. It's really not so tough. If you look at the different choices, x cubed would be much steeper. Square root of x would only exist off to the right because it only deals with positive numbers when you do a square root. X squared would be like a U shape, so that's not right. It's definitely D. You can graph it on your calculator and verify. This one, I'm looking for a square root graph, which all of these look like, but I'm looking for one that's been shifted up 3, and B is the choice for that. Number 13, they have graphed both sides of the equation. That's why you see intersections. That's why you see two pieces. So obviously the straight line part has an intercept of -2, so it must be x minus 2. And then this one, notice it's starting over here at positive 2, and 2 is making it be 0. So what that one is a square root of x. Let me make sure I'm getting that right. Hold on a second. I think I circled the wrong one the first time. We need, let's see, I believe this one. So let's take a look. We should be, we're not shifted left, we're shifted right here. So I rushed through this and made a mistake the first time. Glad I caught that. We're shifted right, which tells me that it's going to be an x minus 2. You can imagine plugging a 2 in here and getting a 0. But hold on a second, I don't like that one because it's not. Here we go. I'm going to finally settle on the answer I like. I said it should be x minus 2 earlier. I should have listened to myself. So, and the reason it's 2 square roots of x minus 2 rather than 1 square root of x minus 2, D rather than C, you can see this one as you go up to 3 for the x value, it gives you a result of 2. And I see 3 minus 2 making 1. Square root of 1 is 1, times 2 is 2. So that's the way I know that. I plug in that 3, and I see that it takes me to 2. All right, 14. Going to square both sides as I'm trying to get rid of that radical. And when I square both sides, I get x plus 4 over here, and I get x squared plus 4x plus 4 on this one when I FOIL it out. Then I subtract the x, subtract the 4, and I get down here. 0 equals x squared plus 3x. Factor out an x. Solutions would either be 0 or -3, but -3 is the only one that's an answer choice. Actually, if you plug 0 back in, it doesn't work. It's an extraneous solution. Number 15. It's a 5th root, but all of these are 5s. So I wanted to make sure I got my 25 in terms of 5, so I call it 5 squared, and I get 5 to the 2/5. And then x to the 5th in a 5th root is like x to the 5 over 5, which is just x, and then y to the 4 over 5, z to the 3 over 5, c is your best answer choice. 16. Square root of 36 is 6. No doubt about it, so it's either A or B. Square root of x to the 9th is 9 over 2 on the exponent, and then 25 over 2 on the y exponent, so B is the best answer choice. 17. Remember that an inverse is basically an opposite. When it's this simple, you can really just think about what's the opposite of adding 3? Well, it's subtracting 3. That's the one you need. This one, inverse to this function. If you graph this function, one point that will absolutely definitely be on it is 0, 4. So when you look for its flipped version, it would be 4, 0, which is on this one. It's not on any of the others. So I know for a fact this one is the right answer. All right, that brings you to the end, but hopefully you're going to take your time and really do a nice job, and you can earn half those points back. Please make sure you get this done. Thank you very much.